Let's go to the 3D view and duplicate this view and rename that view Design Option 1. In the Manage tab, we'll pick Design Options and see that there's an option set, and within those option sets there are options. You can have several option sets in one drawing. Let's pick the New button and create our set. Highlight Option Set 1 and pick Rename to rename this option set Building Addition. Then pick the New button at the bottom right corner a couple of times to create additional options under the Building Addition set. Notice that option 1 is the primary option. The primary option will be the one that you choose for your design. You can make any of the options primary, and once you're done designing, you can highlight Building Addition and pick Accept Primary. When you do this, all of the other options will be completely deleted, along with any views and associated elements that were a part of those design options. Closing out of this dialog box, go to the main model. And edit this floor. We can select the floor and pick Edit Boundary. Let's just make this a little bit bigger, adding 20 feet on both sides so that we can design for a new entrance. We'll pick Finish Edit Mode. And then in the Manage tab, we'll change our design option from Main Model to Option 1 Primary. Adding to the mass modeling that we worked with last week, we're going to create our in-place mass in the project environment. We'll go to the Massing and Site tab and pick In-Place Mass. We can leave the name of this mass as Mass 1 and pick OK. Just like we did inside the mass family, we can start to develop our design. I used a rectangle for the base, but you can modify that shape and use the Level 1 existing view to modify the footprint of your new entrance. Going back to the 3D view, I can select this shape and pick Create Form. As we did in the families, you can use these shape handles to modify your design. And then pick Finish Mass. We'll go back to the Manage tab and change our option to Option 2. In the Option 2 design options, we can go to Massing and Site and select In-Place Mass and create Mass 2. Your design may look different than mine. I'll use a line and a spline to create my new second design option. I'll keep these shapes simple because of video recording time limitations. Selecting here those objects, I can pick Create Form and pick Finish Mass. In the Manage tab, I'll go back to Design Option 3 and create my third design option for my new entrance. In the Massing and Site tab, I'll pick In-Place Mass and create Mass 3. When finished with your own design, pick Finish Mass. You can go back to the Manage tab and check all three of your options. If we needed to add additional objects to the options in the main model, which is very similar to Option 1 being the primary, we can select that object and in the Manage tab pick Add to Set to add those objects to the different options. We have all of the options in the Design Options panel. But now we need to create views which will represent each one of those design options. We can duplicate Design Option 1 view a couple of times. and then rename those views Design Option 1, Design Option 2, and Design Option 3. In the Design Option 1 view, we can type in VG, and in the Visibility Graphic Overrides, you'll notice a new tab called Design Options. Go ahead and select that tab, and then change the automatic design option to Option 1, Primary. Pick OK, and then open the Design Option 2 view, type in VG, pick the Design Options tab, and make that design option Option 2. Pick OK, and the third option, same thing, open the third option, type in VG, go to the Design Options tab, and make that Design Option 3. Now we're ready to set up our sheet. We can highlight Sheet in the project browser, right click and pick New Sheet. We'll use the 30 by 42 sheet by default. We'll pick OK, and then drag and drop each one of these options onto our sheet from the project browser, showing all 3 design options in one sheet. Going back to the Design Option 1 view, if you're in the main model, you won't have access to that design option until you either make that one the current design option, so now I can select it, or back at the main model, if I select Pick to Edit and then select my mass option, it will automatically give me access to that Option 1 setting. Also, typing in VG in the Design Option 1 view, you can control the visibility of your mass for each individual view, but if the Show Mass tool is turned on, then you'll still see your mass. Here, if I take the check mark out of Mass and pick Apply, Revit will give me a message that the mass is being turned off, but the Show Mass command is making the mass visible in all views. You would need to turn off the Show Mass in order to turn off the mass. When you're done with your design options and you've decided that Design Option 1 is the final option, you can go to Design Options and accept that primary option as your final option. For this video and course, we'll keep the other design options Let's rename this sheet Design Options. And let's take a look at groups. We'll make the Level 1 Existing and New view current. Notice that the table and chairs are all separate objects. If I select them all, in the Create panel, I can pick Create Group. I can call this Table and Chairs and pick OK. Now, in the project browser, under Groups and Model, you can see Table and Chairs. If you drag and drop this into your drawing, you'll have that group at the end of your pointer. You can place it and left click. We can also nest groups, a group inside a group. So for this table and chair, I'll select it and create a group and keep the name as Group 1, and then select here the rest of the furniture along with that table and chair, or Group 1, and create a group and maintain the group name as 2. Now in the project browser, we have the original Group 1 and Group 2 with Group 1 nested inside of it. If we copy this Group 2 to the other room, here you'll see that it's bolder, representing new objects. If we select Group 2 and use our Tab key, we can tab to this chair, select it, and you'll see a small icon that says Group Member. Click icon to exclude in this group instant. If you select that icon, you'll notice that the chair temporarily is excluded from the group and not displayed. If you want to get it back, you can highlight that group, use your tab key to select this chair, and pick this small icon to restore the group. Selecting the original group 2 and using your tab key to tab to the nested group 1, we can pick Edit Group, select the chair, and pick Rotate. The base point by default is inside the chair, but we're going to hold our left mouse button down over that base point and bring it to the center of the table, and then rotate the chair. Then pick Finish, and notice that because these are both group 2, the copied group also updates to the changes. When you select a group, you have the option of linking that group. Similar to an XREF in AutoCAD, you can create a separate file that this group is linked to. Modifying that separate file will update this group in this Revit file. So I'll go ahead and pick Link, and then I'll use the first option, Replace with a new project file. I'll call this group Group 1, and I'll leave it in the Imperial Library for now. You'll get a prompt that says that you're linking the document, and once you do, you cannot undo this operation. I'll go ahead and pick Yes, and see the file that it just created. And now when you select that group, it has a solid line around it, and you get different options to bind the group, bringing it back to the original drawing and separating it from the linked file, and managing your links. In the Manage Link dialog box, which we will come back to in the Revit tab, you'll see your group. Managing links for CAD files, Revit files, and DWFs are topics that we're coming back to with more detail in a later module. If I save this file and close out of it, I can then open my Group 1 file, delete maybe the lamp and this file cabinet, save this file, and close out of it. If you open the original file, you'll see that the lamp and the filing cabinet aren't there because this group is linked to another Revit file. The other option for linking groups is to replace it with an existing project file. It removes the group and replaces it with a link to another project file that already exists. I'll go ahead and cancel out of this dialog box. If you just want to save a group as a Revit file without the link, you can highlight it in the project browser, right-click, and pick Save Group. Notice here that you're saving it as a Revit project